Labor positions mean everything when it comes to labor and delivery. So we are going to go through the best positions to help you have an easier labor and delivery. And if you're new here, I'm Naomi. I'm a mama myself and a lover of all things natural birth, pregnancy, and motherhood. And I birthed my baby completely natural, no medication and no epidural, and it was honestly so beautiful, and I had such a positive birth experience. And I'm here to help you mamas do just the same. And this is also why I created my birth prep program. The link is in the description box, and it's designed to help you have a more empowered birth. A lot of times birth trauma and a negative birth story come from a lack of education and a lack of information going into birth, and that creates a lot of uncertainties and a lot of fear. So my program, I designed it to help give you as much information and education about labor and birth as possible so that you can have a better experience. So if you want to go and birth more confident and with no fear, then make sure you check that out. The link is in the description box below. So let's go ahead and get into the best positions that you can use to have a easier labor and delivery. So first, we want to understand why positions matter. And a couple of reasons why they matter is, one, positioning is everything for your labor progressing. So depending on the position you're in, this can mean the difference between your labor stalling or your labor progressing very well. And another thing is the discomfort that you feel. So there are certain positions that you may feel more comfortable in and some that you may feel less comfortable in. So this is why labor positions matter. So we're going to go ahead and get into the specific labor positions that you can use. The first is going to be standing and walking. So any kind of standing, whenever you're standing, standing up and swaying really helps get through contractions a lot as you are breathing, just that movement, and also walking. So whether you want to be outside, if it's nice outside, and not the winter time when you're birthing your baby, but if you're outside, just walking along the sidewalk, or even doing curb walking, or just walking up and down some stairs, this really is going to allow gravity to work in your favor, and movement allows gravity to work in your favor, and also allow your pelvis to move and shift to help your baby get into optimal position and bring them down and out and help them descend down your birth canal. So standing and walking, the biggest thing with this again is just the gravity, and it's going to help your baby come descend down your birth canal using gravity in its favor. The next is going to be hands and knees position. This is actually one that I personally loved during my labor and delivery. I spent a lot of time on my hands and knees, literally hands and knees on the bed, hands and knees on the floor, and hands and knees in the birthing tub. I was on my hands and knees because it helps a lot. So this position helps you take a lot of pressure off your perineal area, for one, which is where you, the opening of your birth canal, where you feel a lot of pressure during labor. It also is going to help your baby get into optimal positioning if they aren't already. It's just going to encourage them to stay towards the front, which is where we want them to be to have a smoother labor. And because if they're in the back, then that can just cause labor to be longer or harder. And so being on our hands and knees and having our belly down just allows baby to come to the front where we need them to be to birth them the smoothest. But this hands and knees position, one, helps with that. It also helps, I feel like in my case, I was able to get through my contractions a lot easier when I was on my hands and knees. And this also can help you reduce back labor as well. So back labor is definitely a thing if you're a first time mama. This is just basically contractions and labor in your back versus your belly, which obviously you still have contractions in your belly, but you can also have contractions in your back as well, which if you're a first time mama, then this is probably something that you didn't know or weren't expecting. And it's definitely something that I did not know about until it happened to me when I was in labor. So hands and knees position will definitely help you have a smoother labor and delivery. The next is going to be squatting positions. Whether you are doing kind of like a half squat or a full squat, the reason why this helps you have a smoother labor is because it's going to help open your pelvis so that baby can come down. So our pelvis does need to open. There are positions that we can do outside of squatting, but squatting is one of the best for this, just to help open our pelvis to allow our baby to come through. And the reason why this helps us have a smoother and easier labor is because the better we can open our pelvis, the sooner our baby can move through it, hence the sooner that we can birth them. And so being in the squatting position, again, whether you are in like a half squat or in just a full-blown squat, then this can definitely help. If you cannot get into a full squat all the way down to the ground, then doing a half squat, like maybe leaning over a birth ball and kind of getting into a squat, or leaning over like a table and kind of just like squatting down a little bit as far as you can go, can definitely help. The next is going to be a side lying position, and this is one that I actually used during my birth as well. Hands and knees was definitely my go-to, but a side lying position is one going to help you conserve a lot of energy because you are able to lay down but still progress through your labor. Side lying is very, very, very efficient when it comes to pushing your baby out. It also puts less pressure on your birth canal, on your birth opening in your perineal area. So that reduces a lot of the discomfort that you may feel while still allowing your baby to gradually come out. But the main thing with the side lying position is, one, it does reduce that pressure that you're going to feel on your birth canal opening and your perineal area. And two, it's going to help you conserve energy. So if you are feeling tired or exhausted or just needing to rest but still want to progress in your labor, try the side lying position. So the next is using a birth ball or a peanut ball. And the peanut ball is one that you can use in the side lying position like we talked about previously. So just having your leg propped up over a peanut ball. And using the birth ball also just allows your pelvis to kind of tilt and have that fluidity in that motion that you need to, one, get baby in optimal position if they aren't, or help keep them there, and two, just really help open it up so that your baby can come down and out, kind of like we talked about in the squatting position. Another thing is that being on the birth ball during labor and delivery really helps, one, take a lot of pressure off, and also it just feels good because there is discomforts that you may feel down in your birthing area. And so just being on your birth ball can really help you ease a lot of that tension, a lot of that pressure, and that helps your labor progress because the less uncomfortable that you feel and just feeling more relaxed and at ease, that actually helps your labor progress more, because the more pain that you are in and the more tension that you're feeling, that actually makes your labor stall. So you want to be as at ease and as peaceful and calm and comfortable as possible to help your labor continue, because again, the more tension and the more pain that you're feeling, I say pain because it's not technically pain, it's really just a lot of discomfort that you may feel. I don't like to look at it as pain because it's just discomfort, but pain is progress, so the discomfort is progress. But just being in these comfortable positions will really allow your labor to progress more easily, because the more comfortable that we feel, our body can do what it needs to do. But when we feel uncomfortable and we're feeling a lot of pain and we're just resisting that pain, then it's going to stall our labor, and it's going to cause the hormones that are working in our body to help progress our labor, it's going to block them, and we don't want that. We want our labor to progress. So definitely try out these positions. These are positions that you can actually try before you go into labor, just so that you can kind of get familiar with how they are, how you feel in them, and getting used to them. So that way when it comes game time, you already know how to do them, and you can just try out these different positions during labor to see what works best for you. I tried a lot of different positions out while I was in labor to see what worked for me. I was on my hands and knees. I was trying side lying position. I was trying to be on the birth ball. I was trying a lot of different things. And then I just stuck with what worked for me, which is hands and knees. That is what I kept coming back to because that felt the best to me. So if you aren't already, make sure you subscribe. And I do want to say this. I know that you want an empowered, beautiful birth. I know you want to bring your baby into the world in such a positive atmosphere with no birth trauma, and for you to not have a negative birth experience. So if you want a positive, empowered birth experience and you want to go into your birth more confidently and with the information that you need, then make sure you check out my birth prep program. The link is in my description box. I designed it for you to have the most beautiful birth, and I know you want that for yourself and your baby. So make sure you check that out, and I wish you the best in your pregnancy and labor and delivery journey.